All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do an update on the market overall. There's a few big things happening this week, so I want to go through those and how they might affect trading for the week. In addition to that, I'm going to take a bigger picture look at the market in general. So this is not my normal update, but I do think it's something that's important to look at least once a week, if not more. So if this is content that you guys enjoy, please do me a favor and smash the like button. If I get 200 likes on this, then I'll know that this is something that you guys are watching, because I will tell you, my non-Bitcoin related videos tend to get a lot less views. So let me know if you're interested in this. Again, I'm shooting for 200 likes. So thanks everybody for your support. Let's talk about the market. Okay, so first I'm going to check in. We're in the AM Monday here, and the market is up. It's green today. So I'm just going to go through the indexes. And again, we're in the middle of the trading day, so I don't know where the day will end. We had a very green day on Friday, and we're having a continuation of that this morning so far. The S&P is up about 0.9%, so just under 1%. The Dow is up about 0.7%. The NASDAQ is up 0.86%, and the Russell's up 0.82%. So everything is getting very close to up 1%. Actually, earlier this morning, everything was over 1%, so we're kind of going a little bit sideways. We'll see where the day ends. But this is part of a greater trend, so we're going to look at that later in the video. I want to look at the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, because I think we have a trend forming, and today is following along with that. But before we do that, I want to talk about two things that are happening this week that I think could potentially have a major impact on the market, at least in the short term. One of which is something that happens once a month, and it has been a major driver of the market. I think it's going to affect the market a lot less this month than normal, but we're going to take a look at it. And the other one is an absolute wild card, and I don't think anybody really knows what impact this is going to have on the market. It's something you guys need to be aware of, because I think it could have a broad effect on the market, especially in the short term, particularly in the crypto side of the market. Okay, so the first thing I'm talking about, of course, is CPI. The CPI data comes out tomorrow. That's Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, and that will be the August 2022 CPI data. So that comes out at 8:30 Eastern time. So that is announced before the market opens tomorrow in the US. So if you have any thoughts on this, or if you want to make any trades ahead of this, today is the day. Now, again, over the past 6 months, this has been a dominant factor in affecting the market, especially in the short term, within 24 to 48 hours after this is announced. Sometimes it has been pivotal in changing the direction of the market. I'm going to go through what's expected this month. I think this month is not going to have a big effect on the market. However, if this number is a surprise, then I'm going to be wrong. Then it will have a big effect. So let's take a look at the expectations and see what we're looking at. Okay, so here's a chart over the last 12 months. You'll see we peaked in June at 9.1%. Last month in July, we were at 8.5%. So that's this line and this line right here. If we go down to this chart here at the bottom, you're going to see the consensus expectation is 8.1% this month. So last month was 8.5. Again, the previous month was 9.1, and this month's expectation is 8.1%. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. I believe that if we come in anywhere under 8.5%, it does not have to hit 8.1. It very well may. We could beat that for all I know, but I do think as long as this comes in under 8.5%, I think the market has already priced all of this in. And the larger ramifications of this is a big driver on what the Fed is going to do, but we're fairly certain at this point of what the Fed is going to do, and that is going to happen the following Wednesday. So unless this number is an outlier, so again, if this comes in at 8.5 or 8.7 or 9, then I do think this is going to have a big impact on the market. But if it comes in anywhere 8.4 or below, I think any reaction will be a very short-term knee-jerk reaction, and I don't think it will have a longer-term effect on the market. So for me personally, if for some reason this has a big effect tomorrow on the market, but it comes in at, say, 8.3, I'm going to view that as a buying opportunity. Again, this is not financial advice. You guys have to decide and do your own due diligence and decide what stocks you're going to buy and when. Okay, so just so everybody understands, I'm just going to take a look at this briefly. The reason that I believe this is not going to have a big effect is this is the probability of what the Fed is going to do in their meeting for next week. So you can see this is a 50 basis point hike. 12% of the market believes that's going to happen. 88% of the market already believes there's going to be a 75 basis point hike by the Fed next Wednesday. So that is a vast majority, which tells me that is already priced into the market. So unless the CPI number is something shocking, I don't see the Fed jumping outside of that 75 basis point. They've done two 75 basis points in a row. These are historic raises, so a third in a row would be very aggressive. And I do think they will most likely do that, but I don't think they're going to jump to a full basis point unless CPI is an absolute disaster or some other big variable happens that forces them into that. So because this is pretty much locked in, again, that's why I think this is not going to have as big an effect this month as it has in previous months. Okay, so the second major event that's going to occur this week, the Ethereum merger is going to occur over the next couple of days. So, here I looked it up in Google and it says the exact time of the merge is not determined. It is expected somewhere around September 14th or September 15th. So that is Wednesday or Thursday of this week. We have never been this close to the merge. We've had many, many times where they've set dates, pushed them back. However, it does appear we are at the finish line here, and it looks highly, highly probable the merge is going to happen sometime on the 14th or the 15th. Now, for those of you who don't know, and most of you probably do, the Ethereum merge is going to merge the beacon chain with the main Ethereum chain, and the significant difference is going to be Ethereum in total is going to move from a proof of work to a proof of stake. So in doing so, this should reduce the amount of energy that the network uses by over 99%. That is the primary reason for doing this. I have done other deep dives on this, and I will do another deep dive on the merge sometime this week because there's a lot of other claims and misguided information around this. But I will tell you, I've heard every scenario under the sun. So I think people are very, very, very uncertain as to what effect this is going to have, particularly on cryptocurrencies. So this probably affects cryptocurrencies more than it affects the overall market. However, Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency right now. It's the second largest cryptocurrency in history. So this is a large event and it could have ripple effects. I'm expecting everything to go off fairly smoothly with this, so I don't think there's going to be a giant glitch, but there's a lot of things that we don't understand. One of the major things is what will happen to all the Ethereum miners after this scenario. Is there going to be a fork? It looks highly likely that there's going to be a fork. So I just think it's important it's on everybody's radar, even if you're not a cryptocurrency trader or even if you're not buying Ethereum. This is a major event that's happening this week. Okay, so now I want to take a look at the S&P 500. I'm going to look at the SPY. This is an ETF that basically mirrors the S&P 500. So this is probably the most popular ETF. This is the most looked at and watched thing. This is probably the broadest representation of what the market is doing overall in general. We're going to look at this and we're going to look at the Qs. The Qs follow along with the NASDAQ. That's also a very important thing. They're both following a very similar trajectory. So you'll see here on September 6th, we got down to this line of support, which dates back to July 25th. So since then, you'll see we're now almost a week later, and it's just been green day after green day after green day. So this line of support seems to be holding very strong. I will say with this much upward pressure, we are potentially due for a little bit of a pullback. I do think we are now inside of another relief rally. So we've had a lot of upward momentum here for the last week, so I won't be surprised that sometime over the next 24 to 48 hours to see a little bit of a pullback, potentially a pullback all the way to retesting this line of support at some point. Now, if we look at the one-day RSI on the SPY, you're going to see we've crossed over 50. So this is a very big theme for me. I believe that over 50, that's when most of the price action happens on most of these, whether it's a stock, an ETF, or a cryptocurrency. Good things happen over 50 on the daily RSI. So we are now over 50. So the question is this going to be a fake out? Are we just popping over 50 on our way down to retesting the lows? Or are we going to build some momentum and head up? The other thing you can see is on the daily MACD, we're getting closer and closer to a bullish crossover. So close does not count. I just want to make that perfectly clear. We are clearly headed in that direction, but close does not count. There have been many, many fake outs until we see a green candle close on the daily histogram and we see these lines actually cross. That would be a confirmation. At that point, that would be an extremely bullish sign. And again, you can see we are heading in that direction for sure. However, that is not a guarantee that it's going to happen. I do think it's entirely possible we have a little bit of a fake out and a pullback in the short term just because the last week has been such a strong run up. So I think we're in one of those 50-50 situations where we could keep running up before we get this pullback, or we could start to experience this pullback right now. So I'm just going to run through the Qs. This is QQQ. This mirrors the NASDAQ. This is basically has the same exact setup as we just looked at. Are we going to bounce back and retest this line of support before we head back up, or do we have a little more more room to the upside before we pull back. So if I go to the daily RSI, you're going to see right now for the Qs for the NASDAQ, we're at 50.86. So we are just now, as we speak, getting over 50. So that is by no means a confirmation that we're over 50. So are we going to close a day on the RSI over 50? Are we going to start trending upward from there and retest the highs on the RSI, or are we going to run into some resistance and have a pullback? And again, the daily MACD is in the exact same situation on the Qs as it is on the SPY. We are getting very close to a bullish crossover, but we have not had a bullish crossover, and until we do, it's just as likely that this fails as succeeds. So if it does fail, then I do expect that in the short term we would go back and test our line of support. I am expecting this line of support to hold, so that would be the key thing that we're looking for. If we drop back under 50 on the daily RSI for the SPY and or the Qs, do we bounce off of this line of support and keep heading back up, or does this line of support break? If this does break, then this was a very short relief rally and it's probably over and we would be heading back down to test other lows. So we're a long way away from any of that. I do think we're leaning more bullish than bearish in the short term, and again, that does not mean that we have left the bear cycle and moved into a long-term bull cycle, but I do think it means that we're somewhere at the beginning or the middle of a relief rally. And if a few things happen the right way, this could be a pretty sizable relief rally in my opinion. But the first thing is we need to see confirmation of a few things. So again, we want to see that RSI over 50 and start to make a run towards 70, and we want to see a bullish crossover on the MACD on the daily time frame for both the SPY and the QQQ. So just to finish off and check the indexes, we're basically where we were when I started the video. So we're up between 3/4 of a point and 1 point across the board. It does seem like we're drifting a little bit down so far all morning this morning. So we'll see how this day ends. So that's what I think you guys need to pay attention to this week. And that's my thoughts on the general direction that the market is moving in overall. So I've given you my targets of what I'm watching closely. Hopefully that will help you guys. Again, drop in the comments if this is content that you like, and please smash the like button. I'd like to get those 200 likes so that I know you guys want this update. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.